This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. Most any contemporary musical style can trace its roots back to the blues. Time Signatures explores the blues and its musical connections with captivating interviews, lively discussions, and news from the world of the blues.
You know I'm crying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Baby, I'm home.
Well, thank you so much, Parker, and welcome to Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Ervin. Earlier this year, I got together with several musicians located in the greater Lansing area here in the state of Michigan. Now, many of these musicians have been around for as long as 25, 30, even 40 years in the business. And we got together and we had what I like to call a storyteller session, or maybe something like the Liars Club. Anyway, we want you to kick back and relax as we play this episode of the Storytellers. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and we're going to go around the table. I want to start with you, sir. If you'd start with your name and any information you want to add to it.
Well, I'm Gary McVay, formerly known as Michael J. back in the day. And that's it. And this was probably, that was about 1963 through 67 or 68. I used that name synonymously around here. That's
Okay.
why nobody knows me from A Man in the Moon.
All right. How about you, sir?
I'm the real Gary McVay.
Right. Don't believe a thing comes out of his mouth.
My name is Hank Horton, bass player, singer. I'll have some stories.
Okay.
My name is Ed Fedewa, and I'm a bass player, too.
All right.
I may have a story or two later. We'll see.
I'm Jeff Starr.
Mike Skory, I don't know anything about anything.
But he'll sell you speakers. Well, he used to.
And I'm Bill Malone, and I'm the same as Mike.
No, Frog's got his.
I guess I'm Frog. I'm a kazoo player.
Actually, I'm the real Gary McVay. No, I'm Mike Daniels, drummer, singer, part-time guitar player.
Very part-time guitar player. I'm Mike Eyia. I'm a guitar player, percussionist, Latin percussion.
Freddie Cunningham, formerly of the Root Doctor Band, now Johnny D, and love being here.
Well, we're glad to have all of you here. You might as well go ahead and put your name on there, too.
I'm Marge Mooney, and I know the stories behind these guys.
She is the witness. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming out here. I know this was a product of Mike Skory and also Bill Malone, and I'm excited to have all of you here because I know that there's a lot of stories that need to be shared. I want to get the ball rolling, and I'm not going to pick anybody in particular. I want you to talk about how you got started in music. Just kind of give a little basic thumbnail sketch, and you can just go around the room or bounce stories off of each other, however you want to do it.
Well, I was about 7 or 8, and my mother used to play music on the radio all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wanted to play drums. I was always tapping my hands and playing with my feet. And so my dad had some kindling out in the garage. He always had kindling because we had 2 fireplaces in the house when I was a kid growing up. So I'd go out there and I'd get his kindling and I'd bring it in the house. And I played on everything from pots and pans to furniture. Matter of fact, my mother's dinette set had that little bead across the top back in the 50s.
Oh, yeah.
And I managed to wear out every chair in the house. And so finally, they got together and decided, hey, we got to get this kid a set of drums because we think that's what he wants to do. And sure enough, that's what started the whole thing.
Anybody else?
What was the question? Lincoln.
You did that the last time I interviewed you. No, I just asking
I'm so
how
broke, I
people
can't pay attention.
how people got started in music. Basically.
Well, mine's short and sweet. My mom forced me into taking piano lessons when I was a kid.
You're glad.
And my sister took right to it, and she ended up getting a degree in music. But I was okay at it, but I didn't love it. And so I quit. And then when I got in high school, honest to God, I sucked so bad at sports, and I needed a way to meet girls. So, geez, wait a minute.
He's honest.
Play.
That's probably the case with everything.
He's honest.
I got a cheapy keyboard. My dad took me out. I don't know where it was. It was a band. Might have been Plain Brown Rapper. They were selling a keyboard. So he drove me all the way out there, out to Mason. We got the keyboard, and that's it. The rest is history.
There you go. Okay, so I've been told that Mike Daniels is one of the focal points of this evening because he has some pretty good rough and tumble stories from his time playing in New York State out by Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls. Slowly. I turn. Step by step. Inch by inch.
I played a club called the Maine downtown Niagara Falls, and it was a pretty wild place. There were hitmen, or not hitmen, but soldiers from the Gambino family and some of the other Italian families there, and a lot of the beer drinking, brawling guys from Canada on the other side, and just all the nationalities, Indians, every nationality, everything you can think of. And it was a pretty crazy place. I remember playing one night, and this is when drummers would leave the front head off their bass drums. Mm-hmm. Remember? They put a pillow in there or a blanket or something.
Uh-huh.
And one of the fellows in the band played Hammond B3. He was to my left. The guitar player and bass player were like out front, and the lead singer, John Weber, who was like Philo Beddoe, if you ever saw the Clint Eastwood movies. Mm-hmm. He was a maniac, a real unbelievable brawler. Anyway, next thing I know, bottles are flying by my head, hitting inside of my bass drum, and just chairs being thrown all over the place. It was just pretty crazy. Well, the guitar player and bass player took their axes, they jumped off stage and went out the front door. The organ player and I, we hid behind our instruments, and this John Weber was out front looking for a target. And he leaped out, and man just started to wail on everybody. But that was some pretty crazy times in Niagara Falls, New York. It was just nuts.
Yeah.
So,
who else has got a good story?
Well, we were playing in Horton Lake in 2000. No, pardon me, that was 1974.
oh yeah.
I'm sorry, 74, yeah. And there were some big fights there. It was in the Argonaut Bar, which is a pretty funky place.
I remember you guys at the North Bay.
Yeah, that was a couple years later. But, yeah, there were a lot of
Northway,
fights.
I played with you.
A lot of
Oh, the
fights.
first-
Yeah, the Argonaut Bar. It was a funky place.
The
It was
first time I saw Blues Brothers, and I'm with this gal that I only peripherally knew, and the scene comes where they're behind the chicken wire, and I said, I've done that.
Yes.
And she goes, no, you haven't. I said, yeah, Thunder Bay, Ontario. We were behind. Behind
Well,
chicken wire, and she says, "Why?" I said, "Well, watch." And they start throwing the bottles.
Yeah.
Wow. So this was a real, like a Roadhouse type moment, having the chicken wire up.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Was that a regular occurrence back in the 70s?
What, chicken wire?
Chicken wire?
Yeah.
Sugar-free.
Yeah, in those roadhouse type
Sugarless
places.
iced tea.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that?
In those roadhouse type places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. You know,
Why
like
had
the
it,
Blues Brothers. That wasn't
IPA.
Short, right?
Yeah.
just for the movie.
Vanilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, we used to play at a bar called, what was that bar it was on the east side of Flint.
Oh, yeah,
Mike Tan?
It's the one that had the checkerboard stage with the stripper pole right in the middle.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
What was the name? It's right across the street.
Contos?
Huh?
No, Conto's not
No, no.
Gun Club. That's on
No,
North.
Rudy's?
Huh?
Rudy's?
Rudy's. It was right across the street from it was the shop bar.
Right.
You think about the
It was
Thunderbird?
right in the
on-
industrial
on,
area.
Bristol.
You know, of Flint.
Thunderbird was on the east side of Flint.
Yeah. Right off the highway, right there. Yeah, they had a checkerboard the floor that lit.
Yeah.
So it was black and white, 12 by 12s, and it lit. And they had a stripper pole right in the middle. So we walked in there. It's like, okay, are they going to have, dancers while we were playing? Do you remember?
We played there.
That's what.
Yeah,
that's
we
what
did.
was-
Is that the place? It wasn't called that. It's called something else, though.
This is another place.
Yeah, it's not the.
This
they're
is
talking
another
about a
place.
different.
This isn't the place.
I played there with you three guys.
because
That's a different
that place had two sides to it.
Yeah.
There was a fight there every time we went.
Every time we went.
Jeez.
Did you ever play the track in
fight
Flint?
there.
Oh.
Track, that's the first time I ever
It
seen
wasn't me.
somebody get shot
My name
playing
was
at the
Bennett,
track
and I
in
was
Flint.
not in it.
Well, I remember the one, and this is going back when I first, God, this had to have been 97, something like that. I first moved to Lansing and got this gig and got a job, and my good buddy Frog over here was pulling my coattail. I got a job out at the old Sportsman in Mulligan. You guys remember that?
Oh,
this so yeah, oh yes, it's
Well, yeah,
whatever
it's the Roadhouse.
Roadhouse now.
Okay,
But this
all
is
right.
back in the day when it was a true biker bar.
Right.
I mean, I'm not talking
Oh,
about the
yeah.
executive $100,000.
Phyllis.
This is the
Phyllis.
yes, Phyllis.
She owned the place.
Yeah, this was a fix and repair daily. Mike ran it. Mike, that was
the dust would fall.
yeah.
Down on your
And so I remember I was Frog said, "Hey, you don't want to go out there, because I'm like, this is Mulligan in the 90s. It wasn't really acceptable for black folks out there then.
Wow.
Hey, you don't want to go out there. It's I'm biracial. I said, well, I got a gig. I'm not going to turn down a gig. So, usually bands are always accepted. I don't care where you go. And I played, Klan rallies. But I get out here, and the owner pulls me to the side. He said, hey, Bill, so halftime, he said, I would kind of suggest, you stay close to the stage there. I mean, there were fights going on, bikers, strippers out there. They're just raising hell. And I said, seriously? He said, yeah. He said, just for your safety, kind of stay around the stage. I'm like, oh, crap, I should have listened to Frog. What the hell did I get myself into? And then
Should have listened to Frog.
I'm sitting down and I said, okay, I'm going back to the stage. I'm just going to sit here for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And he walked away and he turned around. I'm just bullshitting with you. I'm like, but it was like that because, I mean, it was rowdy and there's fights every day, all night long. They fought because they're bikers. They get drunk and they fight. It's
She used to
like,
pack that place 3 nights
it
a
was
week.
packed as his elbows. And I'm like, how am I going? And I owned all the equipment. How am I going to get all my equipment out? There's one door on the side that you come in. The bikers parked on the other side. Like, how am I going to get out here with my equipment? All these, I'm this little old black guy sitting in there, I'm like, and I got, Benny Zadibble as a bass player. That didn't help.
Lord, God, that didn't help.
That's trouble. What else so funny?
You should tell them
I
about
played
Chance.
there. I played out there with a country band.
Chance.
Right after I left the Root Doctors the first time, I played out there with a country band, Patty Ross. Oh, there we go, Patty Ross. And it was I never actually saw any chicken wire anywhere, but bouncers were ubiquitous, and the bands all knew the bouncers.
Yeah.
And you had to have them, two at least, maybe more at each door. Bouncers were just common. I mean, you couldn't really open a bar without some bouncers.
You had to have bouncers.
You had to have. Yeah.
Anybody ever play at the Silver Dollar?
What?
Anybody play at the Silver Dollar?
A lot. What do you want to know?
Oh, no, that I was curious.
Oh, there's 1,000 stories there.
I don't know. I can't repeat any of them.
But was it the Silver Dollar or was it the
Or grandmother's, or was it grandmother's? Yeah.
You know what?
I don't know. Did anybody play back then? Grandmothers, that was a long time ago.
So a slime Family Stone for 50 cents.
We got
that same veggie sauce.
a story down here. Jump in there, buddy.
Well, it was 1967, 66, something like that. I was 18. I just got out of high school. And
Eventually, for me. But
for several years, I had been working with a talent agency in Lansing called the Bobby Roberts Talent Agency.
Oh, I remember it.
And I was working as a freelance drummer, believe it or not. In fact, I had been working in clubs since I was about 14, and didn't do very well in high school because of that. But in any event, I was working with a group from St. Petersburg, Florida, called the Johnny McCoy Quartet, and I got that gig through Bobby Roberts, and we went up to Marquette, Michigan, and played the hotel up there. And as of 2 years ago, it was still there because I called and talked to the operations manager. I wanted to know if she still remembered the incident that I was involved in, and she did somewhat remember it, but it was really before her day. But in any event, at those times, it wasn't uncommon to be booked for 2 weeks to a month, and they always either provided a room or you were given per diem and you could find your own place. Well, in that situation, because the club was right there at the hotel, I chose to get a room upstairs, and so that's what I did. Our final night, we all got paid, but I'd had some bad luck on the pool tables earlier that week.
Uh-oh.
As you might all be aware or not, that particular town is full of college kids, and they like to play pool back in those days, and I got wiped. I mean, every cent I had, they took. And so I didn't have enough money to pay my bill.
Uh-oh.
And so I was up on the third or fourth floor, as I remember, and I was like a sailor back in those days. I had a girlfriend in every port, and that was no different. And I told her, I said, I don't have enough money to pay my bill this week. And she said, what are you going to do? And so we put this scheme together where I would use a rope and lower all of my personal effects, my luggage, basically, because my drums were already in the car.
You're making this up.
And no, I'm not making it up. And we lowered it down. I lowered it down to her, and she put it in the car. And then when it was done, I dropped the rope and walked down the fire escape, said my farewells to her, and off to Bay City I went, which is where our next gig was scheduled. We were going to play a marina there for the next 30 days. Well, I thought, gee, I've really pulled something off here that people are going to find it hard to believe. And I wasn't even thinking about it, but as I was loading my stuff into the club there in Bay City, guess who drove up? The state police. And they said, hey, we want to have a talk with you. And come to find out, the leader of our group, Bobby McCoy, he didn't pay his bill either. Not only looking for me, but they were looking for him. Well, we managed to get through the whole thing virtually unscathed. We worked out an arrangement where I paid the bill that month and caught up on the delinquent amount. But, I came away somewhat ashamed and embarrassed, but that was one situation I thought was pretty interesting.
All right, who else has got a
Thank
story
you.
like that?
That's a good one. I don't know.
Yeah, no kidding.
What about Danson's Bar?
I already told a story.
How many more felons are in the room?
You're the early. I'll make it short, but it's the opposite of your story. Remember that guy Wayne Wetzel?
Wetzel's
He would book us. We were not in high school, but maybe the next year out of high school, and we had this band, and it was okay. It was bluesy, and everybody's in it. But he would book us, and we were supposed to lie about what the name of our band was. Like, he'd get us a job. Here's the pay. It's over here. Now, when you get there, you're Joe Blow and the Schmoes, or you're this, that, and the other thing. And one of the jobs was in Ann Arbor at a dorm. It was a dorm party. And we're like 18 or 19, and we get there, and it was an all-girls dorm, and the guys were tying sheets together to get up to the girls' room. And we were leaving. What are those guys doing? Climbing up to the girls' room. So it's the opposite of your story.
Yeah.
And we were going like, why didn't we go?
Going up?
I was somewhat confused on that, I think.
All All right, guys. Best nightmare gig ever. Let the stories flow.
Oh,
Come on, you tell a story. I already told a story.
It was in.
Fred's got one in mind.
It was in Muskegon
In the winter,
in the wintertime.
outside.
And this guy was supposed to have been an Olympic luge guy. So they were having this, benefit, whatever, for him. And it was a winter like this winter. Like last winter. It was 40 degrees, in January. And we went up there, and we went in the tent. They had pallets. Pallets was the stage.
Oh, no.
On top of the stage was carpet squares. And they had one of those big heaters in there.
Industrial heaters.
And that thing,
salamander.
it started heating up,
Salamander.
and the ground got muddy. We quit. We said, "Nah, this is not happening."
Well, there wasn't anybody there either.
Well, yeah. Besides that, there was hardly anybody there, so we just quit.
Wow.
Then they didn't want to pay you because there was nobody there.
Because there's nobody there.
Because it wasn't cold enough.
It was amazing. I went in there. I said, "You got to be shit." Pallets and carpet squares. Come on.
You can edit this back into the motel stories or hotel stories.
Yeah, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was touring. Doesn't matter where. Doesn't matter who with. And a guy who's done a lot of touring told me one time. He says, when you're in a lot of hotels every week, you might wake up in the middle of the night and not realize where you are and what direction things are, and you don't want to hurt yourself. Mm-hmm. So he says, I always leave the bathroom light on. So when you wake up, you can see where that is.
Yeah.
In every room that you're in. Well, our drummer, shock. Great guy. We were, he was sleeping, and he woke up. He didn't have his bathroom light on.
Uh-oh.
Thank you. So he, walked into the bathroom door, and it closed and locked behind him. And we were at a 5-star hotel, and he's standing in the hallway, buck naked.
Oh, right. Great.
In another country.
Oh. That didn't work so well.
Fortunately, it was 5:30 or 6 in the morning, and all of the newspapers had already been delivered to the doors.
Oh, whoa. Yeah.
And so he grabbed a couple of newspapers and put one in the front, one in the back, and walked down the halls to find a maid or a concierge or something to let him back in his room. And he said, clearly, I don't have my ID. So, leave a light on.
Oh, man. More nightmare stories. Who's got them, man?
I got lots of them. Can I repeat any? Oh, okay. Here's a good one that's clean. Okay, so it's clean. So we were on Sunday night. We're way the hell up north, and on Monday night we got to open in Indianapolis, and we get to Indianapolis, and it's only an hour or so before it's time to start, and so we start throwing all the stuff into the bar, and when we're halfway through, one of the guys comes in and goes, somebody stole all our luggage, because of course the luggage was in the back of the bus, so we just tossed it out on the parking lot, and we're lugging the gear, and sure enough, somebody had taken all our clothes.
Oh, man.
10 guys, everybody's clothes was gone.
Oh,
so they pulled it, and this drunk guy sitting in his car goes, "Yeah, we just saw a pickup truck come up, and they just threw it in the back of the pickup truck and drove away. We thought they were your friends. We thought they were your friends." Yeah. This is the place. Because it's not there anymore. This place was called the Holly Oak. We used to call it the Holy Joke. This was one of the places we played where the guy comes up, first time we're there, he goes, I want you to play 6 20-minute sets.
What?
6 20-minute sets. He says, you play more than 4 songs in a row, I'm cutting the power. I'm like, huh? Well, in the middle of the third song, when these bikers that are, one guy's bigger than all of us, he's doing the Russian saber dance on one of the tables, and I'm like, oh, I get it. Okay. We get done with the 4th song. Hey, we're taking a break. It's all over.
Now there's got to be more good ones out there. Bill, you got to have something.
Oh yeah, I got them.
You've got to keep them clean.
Yeah, that's what
I can
like
believe if
Frog
I
said,
have
I'm trying
to.
to keep them, I mean, I got some good ones, I don't know how much editing you need to do. We were playing up north we were in Alma at the Elks Club. So we did this, we played there probably 2 or 3 times a year, and then we do their holiday party. So, and the Elks Club is all Polish club, and they have the big dinner, spaghetti and chicken dinner, Friday, we played on Saturday. And then, at the Elks Club at the 11th hour, they ding the bell. So right. I have Benny Zadibos playing bass, and, he's up here telling these Polish jokes.
Oh, no.
And I'm trying, and it's just, this is an all-white club. Me and Lawrence Leathers was my drummer. We're the only black guys in the band. And I'm up there, Benny, shut up, stop it. You can't do it. He's just telling these raunchy Polish jokes and all these, they looking like, what the hell? I'm like, oh, man, we're dead. We're not even going to get paid and me and Lawrence are looking like, man, we're not even going to get out of here.
Really?
I'm like, Benny, you got to stop all this. He would embarrass us so bad by telling these Polish jokes. Well, you know how Benny is. Yeah. I said, y'all didn't warn me, when I hired him in the band. I think we had about a 10-year stretch with him. But those were some of the funniest times. Scary, too.
Yeah.
I would say.
We had a gig where the drummer got lost, and I remember being outside, seeing him drive by. We're not naming. Seeing him drive by, and he never came back. And so somebody who was at the event, it was a bar in the west side of Michigan.
Yeah.
There was a 5-gallon bucket upside down. This guy played that all night. Hands were bleeding, but that's what we had for a drum that night.
Wow. Anything to get paid, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Standing outside and watching them drive by.
I had a.
Did you work with him again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
we
was
did.
really good cell phone.
Yeah.
Did he get lost or just?
Yeah, he got
He
lost.
didn't realize he was driving by.
He got lost.
Oh, man.
And they were playing this gig up at Lake Michigan, and it was a reception. And we played a gig, and it was really nice. And then we get out, and we're taking stuff out. And there is this, rebar sticking out of the ground just about that much.
Wow.
2 inches or so.
Rebar.
Steel. It reinforces concrete. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
James walked by and whacked his toe on that. Oh my God!
Oh,
And
man.
It was he flayed it open.
Oh.
Yeah. It was
He had
really
shoes on. He had
it was
shoes on
bad.
and he hit it.
Had sandals,
Oh.
and that toe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I just brought back a funny. We were doing Root Doctor. We were doing playing at the Detroit Country Club. Was it? Yeah, the Detroit Country Club. Remember, we were loading out, and James ran over the pole and knocked the thing down. I was
Oh,
like,
no, that was at the
It's the country club.
Lansing
Lansing
Country Club.
Club.
Yeah.
Lansing Country Club.
Yeah.
He ran over the poles with his car.
Ran over the poles
Yeah.
with the car. Oh my God! Oh
Yeah.
God, we're not gonna get paid now. It's like
Was that the night that guy got so drunk
yeah.
and he was sitting on your piano stool?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. I never. I mean, Lansing Country Club.
Made him pay, didn't they?
Yeah.
This guy was.
Yeah.
He was totally.
Oh yeah. He had to pay for the
and
for the
mean.
pole. Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Drunk and mean.
Oh man.
So how did he was sleeping on your seat?
No, he was sitting on the seat and wouldn't move.
All right, this is probably typical, but the band I had with Valdori, Bird, and Garner, pretty good band. Blue Money was a good band. We were like almost a rock band. We overly relied on Seeger and Leonard Skinner and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we would get booked into hard like metal bars.
Yeah. Oh.
And oh my God, we just never won. And this guy in Kalamazoo, we played for a club that was a strip bar during the day and a bar at night.
You're talking about Big Daddies in
We're supposed to play there for 2 weeks.
They're going to hate.
On the Friday night, the bouncer, whose name was Tiny, he was 350 pounds, 6'2". He fired us for the next week. You guys suck so bad, I'm going to fire you. In fact,
Can I get a salad?
don't play tomorrow night. I'll pay you for tomorrow night. Just get a trailer and go away tonight. Just go away.
Ranch.
What's the middle of the night? We can't get a trailer. Well,
then,
you better. We're just going to put your equipment
can I get
outside.
the
So Bird had to stand there and guard the equipment
do you have the
while
clam
me and
chowder
Jeff
soup?
drove around the city trying to rent a trailer at 3 in the morning.
No, only on Friday.
Then they had a huge fight.
Okay.
Pausing for
No,
food
the first
orders?
time. The first time I saw you guys was you and Beldori and Danny and Beef.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was the original.
Yeah.
band.
I used to play with this bass player, club owner, local guy. We're not going to go into names.
Come on.
However-
Names.
No.
He liked his booze. He really liked his booze. So he had my van. I had an old Chevy van. And he calls me and he says, let's get Johnny, this other drummer. And he says, we'll do a trio. It's just a little bit north of Flint. Okay, sure. Money
Halfway to
wasn't
the bridge.
greatest, but, it's just a little bit north of Flint. That's not too bad. So we get to Flint. Okay, we're going to go north here for a little bit. We start going north. Hour and a half later, we're almost to Hillman.
What is it?
We're about 10 miles
Hillman.
south of Hillman. If you know where Hillman is.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
Yeah.
Just short.
You've never been through Hillman? Oh yeah, I have.
And we get there. It was supposed to be a private party, and everybody's there. We're like a good 45 minutes late getting there. Everybody's sitting there,
man.
walked in the place, and everybody's just looking at us. Where the hell have you guys been? Well, so anyway, sorry, we got waylaid. We set up, we play. Unbeknownst to Johnny and I, Tom is getting soused. He was just getting.
The bass player that we're not mentioning.
We're not mentioning him.
Who was in the max at
We're
one
not
time?
mentioning him.
Come on.
Just got.
Gee.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Finally shows up.
Oh, good. I'll sit down.
What's up?
Now we can say we've been waiting. We haven't started. We haven't done nothing.
Now we can hear some good stories.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
All right. Yeah, we got a mic here right for you.
So, anyways, we played the gig, and we barely got paid. And John was driving back. Tom was sitting in the on the passenger side seat, and he's like bobbing his head all over the place. He's sitting there, and we're wondering what was wrong with him. All of a sudden, Johnny, I hear this noise. I look at John, and he's looking at Tom, and he's just
Oh,
Linda Blair.
all over my van.
Oh, baby.
All over my van. Boy, was
Settle,
I
but I cannot
mad.
get
We had about a 2.5 hour drive back.
Oh,
home.
yeah.
Just don't touch the hot
Yeah,
plate.
and
that-
you did
and
that
that
smell.
And with that smell, yeah.
Yeah.
We had the windows down. Luckily, it wasn't too cold out. Oh my God, it was just
Jeff,
awful.
what you want?
All right, so
John's about ready to kill him. I thought he was gonna stop the van. We're gonna throw him out of the.
That's what they did. That's what they did to James Jameson.
Oh,
They put him out of the van because he opened up those pig's feet, the pickled pig's feet.
Oh.
Everybody's in the van, and he opens up this jar of pickle. They threw him out. Get your ass out of here.
Since we were on the subject of being late, I have two quick late stories.
well, before you do that,
all right.
Speaking of late, we got a gentleman that just joined us.
Yes, sir.
Who do we have down there at the end of the table? Go ahead and sign in, please.
Drummer extraordinaire.
Right here.
Randy, introduce yourself. You guys, all right? You need anything else?
The man.
You got silverware on it?
I don't think this is mine.
Lebanese salad with calamari olives?
No, I ordered
Over here.
regular.
Mike,
Who's got the calamari?
Someone.
go ahead.
Mike, this
Yes.
is salad.
I will get.
Mike, is this your salad?
Randy Gillespie.
Yep.
They call me Uncle G.
Uncle G joined us in the house. All right. Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Silverware. We do need some silverware.
I will grab it. Yes.
Randy Gillespie.
Yep. Okay.
I'm just.
He's got story.
Randy, you have to introduce yourself.
Yeah, he just did.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Hey, you was good, pretty good.
Okay.
Randy,
So-
you got any? Wait a minute. You had a story. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, a couple of quick ones about tardiness, shall we say. So, playing with a band out of Chicago. Had rhythm section, 5 horns, 5 singers.
Wow.
We were playing at a gig at Grand Traverse Resort. Show band. We're there for sound check. 3 of the horn players aren't there. The gig starts. 3 of the 5 horn players aren't there. 3 hours later, at the last song, the 3 horn players show up and jump up on stage. Turns out what happened was that they were getting really baked in the car, and instead of turning north on 31 off of 94, they kept going on 94. And they called one time the resort and say, we're in Wyandotte, Michigan. Where's that?
Oh, no.
So they got directions because there's no GPS at that point. They got directions and then drove from Detroit area to Traverse City and got there
man.
right before the last song.
Yeah.
And the trumpet player, who was the head of the horn section, said, hey, when they got up on stage, said they played the one song, got done. The trumpet player said to them, hey, go tell the band leader you want your check so you can go home.
You gotta be shitting me.
The one guy was so embarrassed and stuff, he quit playing trumpet after that.
Oh,
The-
really?
One of the guys that was late.
Wow.
Here's another one. On the road, playing with a guy, big guy. And for people that might not know what a fly date is, anybody not know what a fly? Well, maybe people listening. When you fly from place to place and can't carry your gear, backline companies bring all the
Right.
backline that you have on your list
Right.
to bring.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we had gone from East Coast to West Coast and then down to, not in New Orleans, but in the panhandle of Florida.
Okay.
Company out of New Orleans, backline company, reputable. I say that with a small R. Was in charge of the backline. So we get to this festival where there's about 20,000 people. We're there at 10 in the morning to do sound check. There's a sound system, there's a light, there's lights, there's monitors. There's no backline.
Oh boy.
There's no backline.
No backline. So manager, tries to get a hold of these guys. And now it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're supposed to play at 8 o'clock. So they start calling around to all the music stores in the area, which there weren't many, and found pretty much everything that we needed, or we could make it work. So we had 2 Florida State troopers driving 100 miles an hour to these music stores to pick up our gear.
Jeez.
And brought it back. And there we are backstage with the crew, unboxing all this gear and setting it up on stage. And we were only about 10 minutes late. We didn't do a sound check, didn't do a monitor check. We played the show. It was great. The last song, we see a pickup truck with a bunch of gear pulling up next to the stage. So I thought back to that other thing, and we got done, and I said, "Hey, fellas, go tell the promoter you want your money."
Great stories, guys. Any other nightmare stories?
I'll tell you an unusual one. This is an international story. Now.
Okay.
I was playing in Japan, and Doug Decker, a local keyboard player, and I were performing, and one of our gigs, that happened to be the weirdest one, was singing the American national anthem in front of the Prince of Japan and all the dignitaries from the government, and then our own people from the company. That was very weird.
Wow.
That was one. The other thing was I used to watch TV over there at night, and it was, of course, all Japanese programs. And there was 3 fellows that were comedians from a national program from Osaka, out of Osaka. And I couldn't tell you what they were saying, but they were funny acting, so I'd always get a kick out of watching them. Anyway, one day I was going to get on the stern wheel that we were performing on, and I had my tuxedo, and I was walking towards the boat, and all of a sudden, here's those 3 fellows that I saw on national TV.
Oh, really?
Doing, those. They wanted me to come over and join them, so I did. And they wanted me to sing. They had one fellow played a snare drum on some kind of contraption that you hold on to, and then I can't remember what the other 2 guys played, what instruments, but anyway, they wanted me to sing an American song. So, of course, what would have been the song I sing that would have been something? No. I mean, it's an American song.
You Are My Sunshine.
No.
Let's take Sally.
No. Paul Anka. Yeah, Diana. So I sang Diana. And anyway, I got through, and all of a sudden I said, no. I said, I can sing enka. And enka is like Japanese pop music, I guess you would consider it. And so they're going, oh, enka. So I did 2 songs on our show that were enka songs. And so I would do the first one, and they'd go crazy. Then I did the second one, they'd go crazy. And that was like the weirdest time I ever had performing. And then I saw myself on national TV one night performing with these guys. That was pretty wild. That was real wild.
That's a good story.
Oh, man.
Now, go ahead, what?
I had one there. I just thought of that one. It's funny. So we were doing Root Doctor. We were doing a festival in
Another Root Doctor story?
Yeah, it was funny. We got a million of them. We were doing a festival in Niles, Michigan, which Niles about 2 hours from here. So,
yeah, thereabouts, yeah.
So, and I can't remember who was driving. I think Marge was driving, because we were all riding in the car. And I remember we get down to we're about 15 minutes from Niles, and I don't know, for some reason my conscience said, turn around and look, make sure you got everything in the back.
Oh.
So I turn around, I look, I see my pedal board. Okay, cool. Where's my guitar at? Look around. Look around.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
You left it home.
I left my guitar at home. We're 15 minutes from the
Three Rivers.
Three Rivers, yes, Three Rivers.
Yeah, that's what
I mean,
it
they had
was.
set us up.
Yeah.
They gave us the key to the city, and we were the headliners. So we're 15 minutes from there.
It was the whole street was shut down.
It was,
It was a big concert.
And
yeah.
there was no way that we can go back and get it. I mean, we're screwed. So just so happens, like I said, we're the headliner. The opening act was Mike Skory's cousin. So he gets on the phone and calls him. Say, hey, my guitar player left this guitar. We're like 10 minutes from the gig. He said, hey, don't worry about it. Our guitar player owns the music store in town. He said, what do you need? I said, just, right now, I don't, just as long as it's 6 strings and, and it's in tune. So we get there, and they were just coming off stage. So he had went, and he had a really good Stratocaster. He had a Les Paul and I think a 335,
Hey,
he saved our. I mean, we were so thankful. It just so happens, like I said, you know, it was Mike's cousin, number one, and then he owned the music store, which, you know, he had everything I needed. So when we got there, I had like 3 guitars to choose from, and we were able to do the gig.
Yeah.
Like, oh. But it was so funny, just getting 10 minutes from the gig, and you look around and say, oh, man, I got everything but my guitar.
You got everything you need.
Almost.
I had a similar situation like that once too. We had a weekend gig up in a little north of Alma at this club up there.
Elks Club?
And yeah. Critter Club, yes. With Benny Sedibble. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
And we get there, and there's this older gentleman. He had to be, I don't know, young guy, around 90, somewhere like that. Him and his wife. He called her Sophilthia. I don't know why the name came from, but anyway. So he comes up and says, hey, good to see you guys. Here, have a muffin.
Don't tell me, Grandma.
So, oh, thanks, Bill. You know, that's very nice of you. Bring these muffins. So we each had a muffin. Turned out that he had put like about a half a bag of pot in that thing.
Oh.
And by the end of the first set, we were like this. You know, we were just out of it. And my sax player, he's leaning against the wall like this. His eyes are wide open. He's sitting there. He can't move. I said, Doug, you okay? He says, no. If I blink, I'm going to die. Anyway, couldn't even blink. Of course, Betty was laughing his ass off because.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway,
where is Betty
the next
for that?
night, it was so bad that the next night we went back up
Telling
for the
Polish
second time,
to
and I
someplace.
forgot my guitar. I left my guitar. I was still high from the night before. It was just like, oh. Anyway, that was another
Wow.
story for me.
A good one.
Here, you got a million stories.
Come on, Uncle G. Step
on,
up
Uncle
and
G.
step up and
One.
share.
You the man.
Larry Frazier, that's the name of the guy that played guitar like you do. Played with Jimmy McGriff. I couldn't think of his name. Oh, I got one.
All right.
Yeah, I got one.
Got one.
Yeah.
1964, Mother's Day weekend, Atlantic City, New Jersey. We playing at a club called the Wonder Gardens, opposite Dizzy Gillespie's band. We was a house band, and we was starting. We was there all summer, but we played opposite every band they brought in. So this was the beginning of the season. So after we played the first set, Diz played, we played. So place, you know, crowded. So the phone ring, so many people there. Bartender called Diz to the phone, you know. So I'm standing maybe a couple feet from Diz. We all crowded around it. And I heard Diz say, wait a minute, baby. Wait a minute, baby. This is Diz. He's on the phone talking. So figured out the phone was for me. I take the phone. It's my wife calling me because usually when I get in town, I call home right away. So, but, you know, we're busy setting up all that stuff. So I said, hello. My wife say, Randy. I said, yeah, this is me. She said, was that Dizzy Gillespie? Because he already said, this is Diz. I said, mm-hmm. She said, oh, my God. I said, well, don't feel bad, baby. This thing, you probably one of the few people can say they balled out Dizzy Gillespie. So, for the next, until Diz died, believe me, till Diz died, every time he'd see me, whether it was in New York or anywhere, the last time I saw him to play was down in Detroit. This is 25 years later. We was playing a tribute to Charlie Parker, the Yardbird Suite. Barry Harris wrote all this music for the Yardbird Suite, and Diz was the guest artist. When he walked into the rehearsal, he looked up at me and said, boy, did you call your wife? This is 30 years later. So then nobody know what he was talking about. Cause I mean, streets. I saw him on the streets in New York. After that, first thing out of his mouth every time. I was in Pittsburgh one time. He came in there to play with the Pittsburgh Wind Symphony. He come down to the club where we was playing that. First thing in the door when he's home. Boy, did you call your wife? I mean, every time he see me, boy, did you call your wife? I said, Did, let it go, man. I ain't doing it.
I think we found a working
Yeah, man.
Yeah. This is a great springboard, guys. Any other brushes with greatness?
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
Well, again, I was a young kid, but I was on tour this time with a group, and we were playing in Charleston, West Virginia. Charleston, South Carolina. I'm sorry. Anyway, I met we were having a rehearsal one day, and this guy stuck his head in, and then he sat down. We weren't open for business, but he came in and he sat there and he listened, and later on I found out his name was Ronnie Free. And I don't know if anybody would know him. He's a drummer. And I made some notes because I can't remember it. I'm getting up there in age, So anyway, he worked with a project called the Jazz Lost Project in Manhattan. And there were performers there like Bill Evans, a lot of jazz greats that practiced before they actually became big time. And Thelonious Monk was there among... There were like 300 different people that I'm sure you've all heard of. But anyway, come to find out, Ronnie Free was doing a gig that weekend right down the street. And we became friends. He liked my playing style, and I liked his, so we agreed we were going to get together later that Sunday at my place. I was staying at a motel, and it had a big, large outdoor swimming pool. Ronnie was married and had a beautiful wife and 2 teenage daughters. Anyway, I was at poolside, and I thought everybody was up there. And so I went to my room to get something. And as I was sitting in there doing whatever I was doing, I can't really remember what it was, out comes his wife. Now, she's about 35, very voluptuous, blonde, and built like nobody's business.
Barely noticed.
And she was, no, I did notice because she came out and she was stark naked. And at that time, I'm freaking out because I'm thinking, oh, hell, with my luck, this is when Ronnie will come walking through the door and then I'm screwed. Well, she looked at me. She realized I was taken aback by it. And I said, yeah, of course. And she said, well, not to worry, because my whole family, Ronnie and I and the kids, we're all members of a nudist colony, and this is like second nature to us. No big deal. And that's the story, guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bill, I know you got a story.
Oh, man.
Got to tell that story, man.
Thanks for segueing into that nudist thing.
Yeah, I wanted to break the ice for you, Bill.
Yeah,
you have to top that now.
We used to play for a couple of years, consecutive years. We used to play at this nudist colony. So the first year that, I guess we got the gig, and I'd never played at the nudist colony, so I'm just thinking, like, wow, I get to play with this band, and we're going to play with a bunch of naked women. Yeah. Oh, man, we're all psyched up. All of us were. I mean, really, we were. So we get down to this, and if you guys didn't know, there is a nudist colony in Michigan, in Battle Creek. Never knew that. And so we get down to the gig, and hey, guy, manager, promoter comes out and say, hey, okay, hey, good, you guys are here, and set up here on stage, and all right, so I'm all drooling, like, yeah, man, there's gonna be some naked women here. And like, yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah, right.
And we get up on stage, and they started coming out, and our jaws dropped, and I mean, they were like 80-year-old women.
They were They were common folks.
They were common.
They were going to Meyer,
you know,
everybody named
exactly. Or going to Walmart and everybody's thinking.
They were,
No, these weren't airbrush. These were the real deal.
No.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And so the manager's promoter, whatever, he comes on stage. Now he's naked.
Yeah.
So he comes up to me and Bob Gardner was the drummer. He said,
Did you hug?
No. It gets better. So he comes up and, he comes up, hey, how you doing? And we're standing back and, obviously, he said, well, like the policy around here is, the bands, play naked. And Bobby said, well, it ain't going to happen. He said, you might as well just, call somebody else because I'm getting ready to pack my stuff and I'm out of here. I said, yeah, I don't want to go up here and see, me and Fred, hanging. No, that's not going to work. He said, well, it's okay. It's optional. I said, well, we opted to leave our clothes on and do this.
Right. Yeah, first time we played that, Thornado Davis was there.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there next to her. And here up walks this guy. He's naked. And he's telling us how much he likes our music. And I look at her, and she looks at me, and I said, it's kind of disconcerting when somebody walks up to you and stark naked and tell you how much they like your music.
Oh, yeah.
It's not quite what I'm thinking when I...
Yeah, and that guy went out and started dancing with Marge and Bobby's wife.
Yeah,
really. So he's out there dancing with Bobby's wife and
Marge, yeah.
And we're sitting up there, okay, we're going to do the tube steak boogie here. Because he was swinging and slanging.
And walking right up on you, too.
Yeah.
Right up on you.
Right up on you.
So Daniels books a job. Daniels books this private party up by Flint. And it was just, and this is when with Smooth Daddy was just he and I and Joe. And we needed a fourth wheel. They wanted a four-piece band. So we got Bob Freeman. Harp player. And
very religious guy.
Yeah. Really, so we go up, we set up, don't think much of it. They have a setup right by this pool, and we're set up, don't think much of it until about 3 or 4 songs in, and everybody takes their clothes off, except us. And Bob Freeman, he doesn't know what to think. He's like, and he's a little short, cute harmonica player, and these women are all over him like white on rice, rubbing up against him. Oh boy, he was just like purple. It was funnier now.
He's pretty religious.
Yeah, he's very religious guy.
He didn't know what to think, I'm sure.
Wow.
Oh, that's...
So, there any other brushes with greatness that you guys want to share? I know Bill Malone's got one.
Well, I have one. All this time I've been trying to think of stories of horror stories in my career, but I really couldn't think of any. But one came up. It includes you, Mike.
A horror story with Mike, huh?
Mike, we were rehearsing a trio, bass, drums, and guitar, and we got a call from ASMSU, and somebody who was supposed to warm up for Freddie Hubbard that night canceled. So they asked if we could do it, and of course we said yes. So we get there at Erickson Kiva, and first of all, we're backstage with Freddie and his band, and it's a kick-ass band. Anyway, so we go out and play, and we
had a conga player and a...
That's, yeah.
Was it a guitar player?
Yeah, it was guitar. Anyway, it was a disaster. It was, because we had just started rehearsing a couple things. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We had no idea. So it was completely embarrassing. The reviews were whoever we were that night, we were more pain than pleasure, they said. But and then Freddie's band comes on there, and they just tore it up. They just were. It was like we were just like deer in headlights. So anyway, this is 1979 maybe, and then so we're completely embarrassed. And the next morning, I had to go to the airport to pick up somebody at about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And I'm walking. This is at Capital City, and I'm walking down. That's when you could be anywhere in an airport. It didn't matter. So I'm walking down the aisle, whatever. And here comes Freddie's band walking towards me, and of course I did this.
Of course.
I completely. It was anyway. I'll never forget. I mean, what a great experience it was. But I tell you, man, it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. But you know, so
That's a good one.
yeah.
I got one more. But I'm going to have to demonstrate. Demonstrate a little bit. This is round. This is round. This is round.
This isn't another nudist story, is it?
60. Oh, I want to say 63, maybe 62, 60. Anyway, we're in Buffalo.
Hey,
We're in diapers.
Playing at a place called the Bonton.
Oh, Bonton. Yeah.
And then there's Royal Arms right up the street. Around the corner is the Crying Grill.
Yep.
Sonny Rollins is playing at the Royal Arms. We playing at the Bonton. Johnny Lilo, who was a vibe player with an organ group, he playing at the Pine Grill. So we're all staying at the same hotel. So I guess it's probably that Wednesday, maybe. Anyway, I come down to the lobby. Grant Green is sitting there. Johnny Lilo is a picture buff. You know, he liked to take pictures. So he says, I wonder if Sonny let me take some pictures. So I suggested, well, call him up on the house phone and see if he's in his room. He was in his room. So he say, y'all come on up. You know, so we go up to his room, right? So when we get in the room, there's then a big old sitting chair there, easy chair, big chair, bed, you know, sitting room. So Grant goes in the room, and he gets ready to sit down in this easy chair. Like, Sonny Rollins said, no, don't sit there. Someone is sitting there. There's nobody sitting there. So Grant looks around like this, looks up, and Sonny say, Buddha is sitting there. I said, oh, shit. I'm about ready to scream. I'm about ready to holler. But I didn't want to laugh at Sonny's stuff, you know. Yeah, right. But I wanted to holler. I got so tickled. I had to say, damn, I forgot. I got to go get some drumsticks. So I had to get out of there, man. I mean, and Grant is like, he looking like this, and he look up at Sonny, and he look back at me. I said, oh, my God, I got to get the hell out of here. Boy, I said, so I see Sonny. I got out. I went on, I got the hell out. So I see Sonny in the hall the next day. He talking about, sorrow now, my friend. Sorrow now. I don't know what the hell that means. What are you talking about? But that's a true story, man.
Wow.
Buddha is sitting there. Boy, I wish I had a picture of Grant's face. When he looked around and looked up at Sonny, and Sonny said, Buddha is sitting there. I said, oh boy. But you know, Sonny's out. You know, Sonny could be out, man. I mean, he's a nice person, but he's out.
He has a new book out, by the way.
Huh?
There's a book out about him. It's all his.
Oh boy, I tell you.
His recollections.
I got that.
It's coming out now.
Lawrence.
Just now. It was reviewed this morning.
Some years ago, Lawrence Levis called me and said, hey, Uncle G, I'm getting ready to audition for Sonny Rollins' band. Is there anything I should know? I said, no. I said, Sonny might hire you or might not because of the shirt you're wearing or the shoes you got on. So there's no rhyme or reason for Sonny. You know, ain't no telling.
Exactly.
Yeah. No rhyme or reason. No. He's out, man.
I've been very fortunate, and these guys know a lot of these stories, but this might be one that they don't know the part of. 1986, a friend of mine said, hey, might have a gig for you. You're going to get a call from a guy. This was Dennis DeYoung from Styx, and he called me. He said, hey, I want you to come down and play with the band. We're putting a band together. So I'm thinking it's an audition. Turns out it wasn't. I already had the gig, but I didn't know that. Learn the songs, go down, play with the band. He says, okay, here's what's going on. This was a Sunday. He says, Friday, we're flying to L.A., and we're going to tape Solid Gold because one of his songs off his studio solo album, Call Me, was like number 40.
Okay.
So that's first part of the brush with greatness. So we're in L.A. It's 8 in the morning. We're in makeup, getting ready to, film our part. And the other band that was on that show was the Fabulous Thunderbirds.
Wow.
Because they had a song called Tough Enough.
Yeah.
It's, another brush with something. But in the makeup, our guitar player was sitting here. I was sitting here. There was another guy sitting here with a big sketch pad doing caricatures of everybody in the room like the makeup girl.
Okay.
My guitar player nudges me and says, "Hey, you know who that is?" I said, "No." He said, "That's Stevie Ray Vaughan." I said, "Cool. Who the hell is Stevie Ray Vaughan?" Because he wasn't.
What
he
year was
wasn't-
this?
86.
Wow.
He wasn't Stevie Ray Vaughan yet.
Wow.
He was shit, but a guitar player would know who Stevie Ray Vaughan was.
Yeah.
He was playing rhythm guitar with his brother, Jimmy Vaughan,
Yeah.
who's in the Thunderbirds. Stevie Ray, if you see, a video of the show, you see him in the background playing rhythm guitar on Tough Enough. And so I've already had my brush with greatness that week, and I had a brush with greatness that I didn't even know who the hell it was.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's crazy.
So, that was
We were we were on Michigan Avenue. It was a bar called the Tropicana. It moved from Division Street in Lansing to Michigan Avenue. And we were playing, and everything was going, pretty well. And then I was in the middle of Tobacco Road, and Lou Rawls walked in the door.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Wow.
That's cool.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, Freddie."
Bill, you got to tell your BB story, man. I've been trying to nudge you, and you need to get that mic over there and tell that story.
Drunk BB King here?
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay, so this was BB. It was his 80th birthday.
Yep.
And so then I was board member for the Capital Area Blues Society, and we brought him into MSU auditorium. So we set up a gift basket, to send out as, saying, hey, thank you from the Capital Area Blues Society, which most blues societies around the country do that for their headline artists. So we bring him in, and he said his son was his road manager. He said, well, after the show, he said, I'm going to bring you back here so you can do an interview with BB. I'm like, oh, cool. So this is my mentor. I mean, this is, all I've known since I started playing in '69. And so after the show, which was a great show, and we go back there, there's a long line, and the manager comes out and flags me and, bring me back into the green room, and BB sitting down there, walking there, and say, hey, I said, do I call him BB? Do I call him Mr. King? And, like, hey, B, how you doing? He said, hey, how you doing, man? We get to talking, and so, most everybody that meets him and greets him always talk about the same things. Well, everything is in his books, and you can read all about that. We're talking about airplanes to golf balls. He's a diabetic, I'm a diabetic. So we're talking, diabetes and like, hey, B, and I think at that time I was just diagnosed. So I'm curious, like, B, so which hand do you prick? He said, oh, that's easy. He said, you never prick your money hand. He said, I prick, because you have to 3 times a day test. He said, no, I do my picking hand. I said, never do my money hand, fretboard. I said, oh, cool. So he said, yeah, you need to do this now. And we're talking, and he's just talking about, he said, guitars. He said, oh, man. So at the time, the Unicorn was open, and Frog this was a Thursday night. So Frog is doing, the jam down there. I said, oh, this is great. Get BB down there. I said, we could bring him down. He said, yeah, I would love to come. We can bring him down there to the Thursday. I said, I walk in the Unicorn with BB King. I said, everybody's going to go nuts. So we're just talking, and like about 45 minutes, hour goes by, and I'm sitting down there next to him, and I'm looking out, the side of my eye, and I could see. So he was doing a meet and greet afterwards. So there's a long line, probably 100 people in there. And so I see all my friends at the beginning, Ron Delegates, Kathleen, and Lauren. Lauren she's a huge BB King fan. So I see them all at the front, and I'm taking up an hour at a time, and they're all like giving me the finger and like, come on, get out of here, get out of here. And so I get up polite. I say, hey, B, there's a lot of people out here that, waiting to see you. I said, I appreciate the time. I love the stories. He said, son, hold up. So let me tell you something. He said, I played 90 countries. I played in front of kings and queens. He said, I given the Pope Paul the first, whatever, I given him a guitar and sat down and played when I was the only person that ever played with him, just the two of us. He said, don't worry about these people out here. I will meet and greet every single one of you. He said, when I find an audience that I like and that entertains me, he said, I just want to, talk, tell my stories. He said, so I want you to sit back down next to me. And for the next hour, he was just gabbing. He wouldn't let me go and just telling me all these amazing stories. So I've never been a writer. So Ron Eggleston was our writer for the Cabs. So the next day, I remember I went home. I had just bought a B.B. King 335 guitar. I saved up all my money. I remember I used to go in there and trade guitars, like every 2 weeks. And Frog's like, look, dude, Stan's only going to let me give you so much. He said, what you do, he said, you get your pickle jar and you get paid with all large bills, save it up for a year and come back in and buy it. And I did that. I saved all my money for a year and went in and bought a 335. So that night after the show, I went home. I remember it was probably about 1 in the morning. I had to be to work at 7:30 in the morning. I stayed up for about 4 hours just reconstructing my whole, lick. Because he was saying, like, there's a lot of great guitar players out there. They play melodic, just fast and everything. He said the key to it is to take each note and tell a story. He said that's where I developed the vibrato. He said I could take one note, twist it, bend it, turn it upside down to tell a story. He said phrasing is the key to it. So, they always named me a slasher because, I played. I went home and sat up there for 4 hours just going through every lick that I knew and just turning it around and controlling and make it tell a story. But it was such a beautiful thing. And the next day, I wrote a 3-page letter in the Cabs newspaper, which I've never done in my life. I was just amazed. I said, that meeting greatness, my mentor, oh, man, I was in hog heaven.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
The one that he gave the Pope.
I know.
Just came up.
I know. He said he's the only one that, and reading all the stories, you can't go up to the Pope and say, hey, how you? No, there's a handler. So if you're giving him a gift, you give it to the handler gives it to the Pope. He said the Pope called him up there and he actually gave the guitar to him and they sat down and they played for like 45 minutes just playing, Wow. He said he was the only one that ever did that. Wow. Yeah.
Very cool. So, I got a story to tell you about my grandkids. They asked me, like, sometime after I come off the road, sometimes the kids would be playing music, playing a little rap here and there. I told them, listen, y'all play it. Don't play it so loud. Play it down. My kids now. Okay, Dad, no problem. Hold on. But them grandkids now, they say, Papa, how come you don't like rap? I said, well, first thing, it's just rhythm. It really ain't music. And half the time you can't understand what the hell they're saying. And they say, Papa, we can't understand some of that music you play. I say, what music I play that you can't understand? They say, when they say, bop dop and deedly dop and bop the bop. I say, oh, that's called scatting. So I sit them down, and I explained to them that scatting was over the chord structure of the song. And I kind of demonstrated, things. So once I did that, I didn't have no more trouble out of them. Mm-hmm. But they also said, I said, ain't nothing to that rap anyway. They say, well, can you do it? I said, yeah. I said, I can rap. They say, all right, Papa, sing me some rap right now. So I said, I drank rattlesnake tea and ask for more. I kick a bear in the ass and they'll lie in the row. They say, I made that shit up right there. My grandkids, they fell out with the laughing, boy. They say, Papa, you too much, boy. But they put it to the test, man. Them grandkids now. My kids, you know, but them grandkids, oh boy, they got something.
We went to Winnipeg, Manitoba. My gosh, that is beautiful country. If you ever get a chance to go, I mean, that's big sky country.
It's real
And-
flat around there.
Yeah.
I've flown in there a couple times.
Yeah.
But it's just from the plane, it was just as flat.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's this town.
Yeah.
Boom, like
Yeah.
Emerald
Right
City.
in the out in the
Yeah.
on the prairie, kind of like
Yeah.
And we played this show. Jimmy had problems with his organ, and somehow we got that. No, not his personal one. with his organ, and we got it fixed, and we were playing for these people who, you know, they enjoyed the music because it was new. It was something. It was new. They hadn't encountered it. Yeah, and we did the show, and as the final song we did that we were doing, they started shooting off these fireworks. So in the front, they had fireworks going, and as I turned around and walked off the stage, to my left, there was Aurora Borealis. So I had fireworks on this side, and the northern lights on this side.
Wow.
And it was just, it was beautiful. It gives me goosebumps now to even think about it.
Very cool. You guys, there's a lot of years of experience in music here at this table. Some of you I've known for a lot of years by name. Frog and the Beeftones have been around for, good Lord, 35 years probably, Frog? Different variations? 40? I know when I got into radio, I mean, there was Larry McRae was always playing down at Blues on the Square. I heard Frog and the Beeftones regularly. I heard Root Doctor regularly. And I just have to ask, if you guys hadn't gotten into music, what do you think you'd be doing?
Serving time.
That was Frog.
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a good question.
I don't even know. I don't even know.
I asked Larry McRae, and he told me he'd probably be out fishing somewhere, and you know, because he worked at General Motors for a while.
Well, yeah.
And you know, so he had a career or whatever. But I'm just curious.
I worked at General Motors too.
A factory job when I got back.
I was going to say,
from
gee,
Vietnam.
you were there.
What's that?
But I'd been on the road
It
for
didn't last that long. You know,
over 30 years before I went to GM.
Can you pass that down?
Probably maybe, I don't know, 5 months, I think, maybe 6 months. But I just thought I hated it.
Mike.
So
He worked in the factory for 6 months.
I'm not moving.
So, Mike, did I hear you say that you served in Vietnam?
Yeah.
Thank you for your service. Anybody else in the military? I know Freddie served in Vietnam era also. Who else? Where were you? In Vietnam also. Thank you, guys.
I
Thank
went
you.
in, but they let me out because I wasn't supposed to be in anyway. I went in and went through basic, and they because I was married to my first wife, and so.
Is that the one you didn't call on time?
No. What happened was anybody that was married got deferred, but you're supposed to fill out this thing, you know. Well, I was 3 days late filling out this, you know. Do you know they sent me anyway because I was 3 days late? So I got drafted and went through all basic training and all that stuff. So after basic training, they gave me an option because of my scores and all that stuff there. They said, we give you an option. You can either go into OCS, that's Officers Training School, but you have to stay in another year, or you can go on traveling with this trio and playing music for the soldiers all across. You can do that, or we can send you home. I got a gig at home. Send me home.
That's right. I got a gig at home. Wait.
But I was in there for, I went through basic, And I tell you what, they say they got a whole bunch of gold in Fort Knox. I was all over Fort Knox. I ain't seen no building with no whole lot of gold in it yet.
Well, they won't let you see that.
Where was it supposed to be?
Too. The first closest that you can get
I ain't seen it.
To that building is maybe from here to Leroy's.
Right.
Well, I think they've been fooling us, to tell you the truth.
You can't get nowhere near that.
No.
You can see the square. It's a little square building. It's not
Yeah,
big.
you can see it, but that's all.
Distant, but
They might have had to build it, but I don't believe there's no gold in it.
it's all a sham. The government.
Huh?
It's the government. It's all a
Just
sham.
like this, boy, look at this. Just like the deficit. They always talk about the deficit. Turn the machine on. Print some more. That's all they got to do. A deficit. Hey, get the hell out of here.
It's full of gold. Didn't you see Goldfinger?
Yeah, I know. Yes. Right.
So who all has recorded on an album here? At least one.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, I think probably everyone else.
Well, I know that I got two of yours. That's how I discovered. I never even knew who the Blue Avenue Delegates were until Huber gave me a copy of the CDs. Thanks. And I mean, the first song that I heard on there from the Green Door was "Party Till the Cows Come Home," and that was it.
Oh yeah.
I was done. That's why I had you guys sing it that night at the Green Dot Stable. Yeah.
I'll be darned.
Yep. So we're getting close to the end, guys. We've been at this for almost 2 hours now. We're doing really well. But I wanted to get the best gig you've never been paid for. Any stories from the best gig you've never been paid for? And of course, you got to tell the backstory.
I played a week in Flint. Never got paid.
A week in Flint? Okay.
The Embers. The Embers.
Never got paid?
Or the best gig. Yeah.
No. Went to the Union.
Wow.
It was with Cloudburst.
Is that right?
It was what? And that was with Cloudburst.
Cloudburst, yeah.
We had to run a truck to get our gear there and played, I think, 6 days.
Oh.
The guy didn't pay us. And that was the end of it.
Wow.
You said the best gig.
The best gig that you didn't get paid for.
Well, I just wrote down some questions. Skory was supposed to help me, and he hasn't helped me so far at all. I've been all alone over here.
We did a I mean it was a good gig. It was a fun gig. Any gig that you play with your buddies, are good gigs. Me and Frog used to do a Frog and the Malone Tones. We used to play up at that was a good band. At the motorcycle place on Double Douche. Uli's House of Rock.
No, but you're right. It was
the double douche.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the guy was a German that owned the place, Uli, and he had a partner. And so we would go in there and play every Wednesday, I believe it was. Man, we get up there, we rock this place out, go to load out and everything, and then Uli come up and say, well, we're a little short tonight. Oh, what are you talking about, a little short? Well, we didn't bring in enough to pay you guys. Whoa, what are you talking about?
And we were working for nothing.
And we were working for nothing from the get-go. And it's like, well, we're a little short, so I can't pay you guys. Are you serious? And the place was a shithole. It was nothing in there to take. So it's like, really? But we had fun. I mean, it was a good gig, it was a good band, but we just didn't get paid.
Yeah.
I think he did that twice to us. Okay, next week, I guarantee you we're going to come in next week.
He slammed us the next week, and that was it.
The same thing. That was it.
Done.
We're done.
Now, Frog, I got to ask you, man. Go ahead and chew because I know you got some food going. Like I said, I've heard about you and followed you for at least 35 years that I can remember when I was working in Lansing radio. How many different variations of Frog and the Blank Tones, or How many different variations of bands have you been a part of through the years?
Of bands or just the tones?
I guess a combination, because I know
a lot.
You've been affiliated with several bands.
A bunch. I moved here in '76 on behest of Billy Ryder, this guy I went to high school with.
Okay.
Oh, Billy Ryder, really?
Yeah. And Chuck, I moved to Lansing to play the blues.
Okay.
And did for a while. Then in '80, Rick Nallis said, "You want to start eating?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I'll be into it." So then I played in rock bands for a long time.
You want to start eating.
So through the years, are you finding that you've had to bring rock in with the blues to make it palatable?
Well, if you want to work all the time, you've got to, you can't just be that guy.
Okay.
Explain that to him.
It's a true story. So when I started my blues band, it was out of Old Town. So couldn't think of a blues name. And so, okay, when I did, you Google, do a search, for, I forgot what the name of the link was. You can look up band names all over the country. So nobody had the Old Town Blues Band. Oh, cool. So I got it, signed for it, made it my own. And then when I try to get gigs, and everywhere you go, it's like, well, we don't do a lot of blues around here. I said, well, we could play it. Yeah, but, the name just doesn't oh, crap. So everywhere you go, if you had blues band, couldn't get in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Couldn't get in. And it's like, I invested, I did websites and, invested all. They had so many links to the name, I didn't want to change the name. So what we had to do, once we got in the door, we were playing everything but blues. The name of the band was the Old Town Blues Band, but we're doing Hart, we're doing, Clapton, you throw a little Stevie Ray Vaughan in there. Oh, yeah. I said, well, guys, that is blues.
Yeah.
And that was the only way that we were able to work.
You navigated that line between the blues and
pop
and pop. Navigated it very well.
Yeah.
On every album.
Yeah.
I mean, every iteration of the Root Doctor. It was a blues band. It got booked as a blues band, but in reality, it was a soul band.
It was a soul
touched
band.
on the Motown.
Yeah.
Touched on the funk.
Yeah, exactly.
It was all, but
it was.
everyone liked it.
We never were a strictly blues band. Now the band that I'm in now is strictly a blues band.
Mm-hmm.
With Johnny and
Right.
and
Yep.
because he won't play anything else.
You know what? I had a conversation back in Philadelphia when I was on the road with Buddy Rich. He's playing at the place called Peps. He only had 6 pieces. He didn't have no big band. He had 6 pieces. So during the break, we was talking, and we both agree. He said, everybody always say, he's a rock drummer, jazz drummer, this drummer. I say, you just a drummer. And I say, buddy, I agree. I say, when I come up, whatever the gig called for, that's what you tried to play. It wasn't no this, that, and other. It was just all music. And I think they should go back to that. 1, 2, 3, 4, it's all music. Somebody asked me, says, oh, you Randy Gillespie, huh? You play jazz, huh? I said, well, yeah. He said, you play blues too? I say, listen, the first thing a so-called jazz musician learns how to play is a 12-bar blues. And all of them will tell you that from train to whatever. It's a 12-bar blues. It's all, when B.B. King plays the 12-bar blues, it might be a different key and different melody. When Miles plays the 12-bar, it's still a 12, 1, 4, 5, still a 12-bar blues. It's all related and it's all the same. Somebody say, hard bop or bebop. I say, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's all music. But, and it is all music. This, that. It's all related. Believe me, it's all related. So just play the tune and play and play what the tune calls for and get the hell out the way. It's all music. Yeah, I tease Mike Eyia and John Weber. I always call them when I say, y'all playing that one-and music, huh? Because You get the Latin cats get, you know, I always tease them about the one and music, but it's all related. This guy, Francis Kofi. You know Francis Kofi? Francis was giving a talk of, you know, like a class, and all the percussion people was in there from the music ed department, and they was basing this rhythm off of. So everybody had a little something to do, but this was the foundation. So later on, I saw Francis in the hallway. So I said, Francis, this is the foundation, right? He said, yes, yes, yes. I said, would this work? He said, oh, no, 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 no. He said, no, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. I said, well, okay. But I didn't elaborate. I said, oh, okay, cool. So I said, Mark Johnson was the percussion. So I asked Mark about it. All Mark said, it's up here. That's why it wouldn't work, because it's up here. He thinks it wouldn't work. But, you know, there you go.
I gotta go. Hey, Freddie. All right, be safe. Take care.
Hey, man, don't be going nowhere singing no blues. All right, Freddie.
All right, take care.
Yeah, man, you know, so it's always like, man, you know, that's, you know, that's the same thing about what my grandfather told me as a youngster about 12, and told us he gave us 5 things, and I live by those things till this day. The first thing he said, be careful who you associate with, because they can sometimes dictate your destiny. He said, second, there's only one race, the human race. That's what my grandfather. There's only one race, the human race. All that other stuff don't come. It's only one race. We all come to the same place. And he said, third, treat everybody the way that you want to be treated. He said, and then fourth thing he said, and don't expect someone to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. That's number 4. And then number 5, he said, and if you think you're talking to a fool, make sure he ain't doing the same thing. And I live by that.
That's a good line. Yeah. That's the best line. That's the best line right there.
I live by those 5 things. I had this guy tell me one time in Pittsburgh, friend at the jazz club called the Hurricane. Bam, bam. We took a break, and I'm standing on out the way. This guy come up to me and say, hey, man, you get high? I said, I was born high, but I come down between Christmas and New Year. He said, okay, man, I understand. You did.
I'll see you later.
And I don't even know what made me say that. I don't have no clue what made me say that. But, you know, anyway, you know, that's what I live by, those 5 things, man. That's why, Mikey, that's how I always say, I'm better than all right. When you ask me how you doing, I'm better than all right. Because my grandfather said, you have a choice to being all right or better than all right. If you say you're better than all right, you speak positive stuff to yourself.
Yes.
So I thought I'd trick him. I say, Granddaddy, give me an example. I'm thinking I'm going to get him now. He said, well, okay. If you're out in the wilderness and you're lost for 2 or 3 days and you got no water, no food, nothing, he said, why wish for a loaf of bread when you can wish for the grocery store? He said, so why be all right when you can be better than all right? I said, okay, Granddad, you got me again. You know, what you going to do, man? Yeah, man.
Well, guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming tonight. This truly was everything that Mike envisioned, and Bill, and more. I've got at least 3 episodes here that I can put together. So I think this is going to be some good stuff. Again, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Mike, Bill, thank you for helping to set this up.
Yes, sir.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.